Okay, getting yourselves all into a nice comfortable position. So you can do this seated, or you could even do this lying down, but it'll be a quick 5-minute lying down if that's what you decide to do. So placing your hands on your lap, or you can even just have your palms on top of one another, ever so slightly tucking your chin in. And then I invite you to all close your eyes, take a light gaze, whatever is feeling right for you this evening. And as we arrive, just really start to tune in, become aware. So stepping out of that autopiloting mind thought space that we are in quite a lot of the time. And just familiarizing yourself with the space that you are in. So the openness of that space. And the expanse of that space, so the room, the house, and the environment the house is in, the outdoor space, so nature. Really getting a grasp for, the limitlessness of that space, that expanse, that openness. And with that limitlessness, we can find stillness when we tune into it. So just spending a few moments observing as the witness, as the bystander, just noticing, just watching, not forming any judgment if you can, just observing with curiosity, with love and kindness. And then from here, once you've gained a sense of the space outside of you, let's take your attention and your awareness to the space within. So acknowledging your whole body, feeling your whole body. We're just going to move into a grounding, anchoring exercise, again, as a way just to step out of that autopiloting mind thought space and to bring us into present moment. So if you're seated like I am, you may just gently feel the light press of your feet against the earth. So just feeling the solidity of the earth underneath your feet. And feeling the socks on your feet, that soft texture. Feeling all the toes in the socks around the foot, both feet. So really bringing your awareness to your feet, that sensation, that feeling in the feet. When you bring your awareness and your attention down to the feet, can you start to feel a bit of tingliness there? Feeling that energy. And then from that energy in the feet, drawing your attention to the ankles, from the ankles up to the knees, and then from the knees up the upper legs, and perhaps noticing both your palms on your legs as well, perhaps, and just feeling the warmth of your hands, light, gentle press. As you bring your awareness, your attention to your hands, again, noticing if you feel any sort of tingliness in your hands, noticing energy in your hands. And then moving from the legs and the hands up to the pelvis, just feeling the solidity of the pelvis on a pillow, cushion, wherever you're seated, on the chair. And then see if you can just maintain that length in your spine now. So feeling the spine stacked on top of the pelvis. Moving up one vertebrae by vertebrae at a time. Perhaps feeling the natural curve in the spine as well, feeling the arch. Feeling the length and the lightness as you travel up the spine, feeling the height in the body, that openness. And then moving up in between the shoulder blades, And whilst we're here at the shoulder point or between the shoulder blade point, just noticing if you're feeling any sort of tension, any tightness here. And if you are, just allow those shoulders just to drop away from the ears a little bit further. And then continue to travel up the spine now, so up to the neck, which is an extension of the spine. Again, feeling the natural curve, perhaps in the neck. And then up to the crown of the head. And from the crown of the head, just allow the whole face now, taking your attention, your awareness from the crown to the whole face. And allow your whole face to soften here. Relaxing the creases in the forehead. Allow the eyes to roll back into their sockets. Gently bringing the tongue either to the roof of the mouth or just to the front teeth at the bottom. Gently parting the lips. Really noticing now a softness in the whole body as we've done this rounding exercise, anchoring into the body. And let's take our attention to our breath. So we're going to take a couple of deep inhales and then allow just the shoulders to sort of come up and release, just to keep releasing any tension. So taking a deep inhale through the nose, draw the shoulders towards the ears. And then exhale it all out the mouth. Again, deep inhale, draw those shoulders towards the ears. And then exhale it all out the mouth. And again, deep inhale, draw those shoulders towards the ears. And then exhale, let it all go. Let it all release. Allow everything just to really soften. And as you allow the body to soften, taking your focus and your awareness on the breath. And we're just going to work on softening that breath. So just gently inhaling and exhaling in and out of the nostrils. Noticing the breath. Noticing the rhythm and the quality. And however the breath is, that's okay. Let's see if we can just really slow and start to study that breath. If it's a little bit fast, a little bit tender. So you can maybe take your hands to your belly. And as you inhale now, send your breath down into that belly. Allow that belly to naturally expand. And then on the exhale, just allow that belly to draw in naturally. So if you sit nice and straight here, it just means you're giving the lungs and the diaphragm the full capacity to expand. So inhale, the diaphragm lowers the belly, draws out. And on the exhale, allow it to draw in. Inhale, expand, nice and steady. And exhale, release. Diaphragm draws in and up. Just spending a moment here, just steadying the breath, just really following the breath, the belly breath. And if your mind is already wandering, just refocus on the breath. Gaining a sense of steadiness and ease. And then just gently releasing go of the belly breath, or you can maintain that breath with the belly breath. So if we breathe like this all the time, we're breathing in the most efficiently. But if you're finding that's difficult to maintain, just come back to center for a moment. And just observing your internal space. And perhaps observing your heart space. And at your heart space, I'd like you all to visualize your leader within. So perhaps visualizing the colors, words, and feelings. And just allow that to expand from your heart into your whole body. You can maybe visualize that expansion. Maybe even visualize it expanding outside of the body. Just breathing nicely and steadily whilst you're holding this gentle image of your leader. And then just keeping your leader there, which we're going to hold with us for the rest of this session. When you're ready, just perhaps you can let go of that image, but know that your leader is here. And then gently open your eyes when you're ready.
Thank you. That was amazing. It was nice to spend a bit longer there as well, because I think sometimes we need just a bit longer to get into it and feel into it, really. How was that for everyone else?
It was lovely, Lizzie, thank you.
Re-energized. Amazing. Okay. So the kind of, I guess, the agenda or the way I'm going to run this today is for us just to spend the first like 10 minutes or so just us explaining a bit about maybe some situations that we have or haven't used our leader within over the last how long, few months since we finished, or if we haven't, because it's continuous practice. And I say to everyone, like, almost the work doesn't start in terms of integration until the program ends a lot of the time, because we've got to look for the scenarios that trigger us and we've got to look for those constant learning opportunities, really. So maybe if there hasn't been a time you've used her or him, then maybe it's about identifying a situation where you could. So something maybe that's pretty hard at the moment that you're thinking, oh, actually, that could be a time I could bring them in. So, it's not all about creating pressure if we haven't done it, but it's about looking at opportunities that we potentially could as well. So let's sit with that for 10 minutes or so. And then Lizzie's going to give you her perspective around how she first connected with her leader within, because she had a very different way around embodying this because of just her background. So it's a really nice perspective that we all get to this in different ways. And that's what we're finding through this cohort too. Everyone is really grasping this completely differently. So it's about you seeing some other perspectives with that, just to help you constantly integrate and evolve. Because this isn't, your leader within might not be the same, right, as it was when we found her back in February. She might have changed. She might have a different cloak on. She might have a different sounding voice. She might have a different energy about her, because it's about what you need to be working through now and what you need support with now. And that might be and that might feel different. Okay, so any initial thoughts when I said that, Georgie? It looked like you panicked, so I'm guessing there's not been, much thinking about integrating her, but there's probably maybe some subconscious ways that you've maybe kind of done that, but it's sometimes hard for us to kind of pull out from our mind.
Yeah, I think so. I think now I'm thinking about it, there are situations, I think, where I have probably used my leader within and the energy that she has, but not really been consciously aware of it at the time. So when you said, when have you done it, I didn't have like a strong feeling to say, I did it here. But yeah, I think I probably have brought a lot of her back into my life, because that was a lot of what I was missing before when we started the program, was that kind of fun, soft energy. And I definitely am more of my leader within now. So yeah, I have used her.
I love that. And that's the thing, isn't it? It might not be a specific scenario, but for you, a lot has shifted. So actually the fact that you're just back in alignment with that true kind of energy and true essence speaks volumes, doesn't it? And I think then maybe you'll be able to feel into when things don't feel as right as well, because sometimes the more sensitive we get to all of this, it's almost about keeping us in tune and dialing up and dialing down based on kind of what's going on in our lives as well.
Definitely. And having the strength and the courage to know that if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. I don't need my head to justify and find a reason why. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Carolyn, any thoughts?
I think my life has changed for the better through everything we learned. Obviously, I've got a new job. I'm so calm. I was so angry before because of the situation I was in. I'm now much calmer, and I actually notice it day after day after day. So I'm in an environment which is also really quite calm and relaxed. There's no pressure. But I've had the fabulous opportunity, Natalie, of delivering or coming together with the team up with the core values of our business.
Oh, fantastic.
I know, I was absolutely thrilled. So sorry, I'm slightly digressing, but this new role I've got, my boss on the first day said, one of the first things I want your help with is to, come up with what our core values are, what is our purpose, what is our niche. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of, gosh, I can actually deliver something back into this business and talk to the team, albeit they're very small. And everybody has found it as fascinating and useful as what I did. Mm-hmm. So, a bit like you, Georgie, it isn't so much I've thought, oh, that's where I've used my leader within, but I just know that I am using it even sort of not consciously, subconsciously. And you're right, if I did the exercise again, those same feelings and words would be there, but they mean even more to me now.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's good.
I love that around what you said around the ripple effect of like you inspiring others through the values piece, because actually that's life purpose, isn't it? That's purpose into action. That's then how now you're making a difference to the world. So again, it's like kind of consciously being aware of how that's just happened. You've been given this opportunity, and now you're changing other people's lives as a result of you being more in alignment. I think that's so organic and natural, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic, really fantastic.
Amazing. We will spend a bit of time either doing a visualization that's slightly different from what you guys have done before, or if we don't get there in terms of time, then I'll send it as an audio file. But it is worth, whether it's in the session or in your own time, just revisiting that, every few months or so. We'll obviously do leader within, say, every 3 months as part of the calls, but it'd be interesting to kind of see, how that feels different, like what the language is, what the message is, and a lot of those questions we asked around what's the leader within got to tell me about my values, it might be a slightly different direction they're kind of pushing you in. They might be they might have some more interesting learnings for you to discover if you kind of are open to hearing,
And also in our last call, we revisited our values, and a lot of our values were different. So our leader within will have different things to say to us now. So
exactly. So Lizzie, on our last alumni call, which was the first one, we all had trust as a value, and none of us had trust at the beginning, including me. And I think that was actually so beautiful in the sense that actually it allowed us to trust, because it's all about hearing that internal voice, that internal compass of we know the answer, we just haven't been programmed to listen, right? So I think that was a beautiful unfolding of like just that being such a core kind of consistent learning across the board, actually. Yeah. What about you? And I know you've got a lot going on in terms of work and things, bless you, and you're doing like an MBA alongside your day job at the moment. So how's it going?
Yeah, for me, I'm just super stressed. I have to submit my next assignment this week, and it's like it's so far off from where it needs to be. So yeah, I don't know where my leader within has gone, but it's very far away.
Then what advice would your leader within be giving you right now, heading into that busy week ahead of you?
I don't know. For me, I just feel like another day, head down and then submit and be done. But I just need to manage it in a better way, because at the moment it's just pretty crazy.
Creating a bit of space for that, because it might be something, maybe not this time if you're feeling really under pressure with that deadline, but allowing yourself to do the leader within meditation like a week before an assignment, for example. Like that could be a really nice way that you have something like that you can use for then to support you with an upcoming deadline. So it's about
maybe
these tools, because you've got them forever, but it's how you use the tool to then help you with specific situations. For me, that's what these calls are about. It's about integration of some of this learning. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Lizzie, give us a bit of an idea in terms of your perspective of Leader Within, because you kind of had a bit of a different process of kind of getting to it, didn't you, really? Just because of the nature of your background in terms of like meditation and Reiki. So again, like be good to share because it gives us a different perspective.
Yeah, so I think when I joined the program, I didn't so much like consciously have an idea of a leader within. I just, like, when I would look for strength and courage, I would sort of imagine my future self as an example, because that can be your leader within as well. But really, because of my my background in yoga and meditation, one of the key areas that I'm quite fascinated in at the moment and that I'm working on in my life is energy. And the way we embody energy, the way we feel energy. So we can hold energy mentally and physically and spiritually. So when it came to me discovering my leader within, those were all the areas that I was thinking about. And as you all know, different things that occur in our life can affect us energetically, right? So because of, again, my interest in yoga and like Hinduism, I ended up finding my leader within from one of the Hindu goddesses, which is Shakti. And Shakti is the goddess of energy, or manifesting energy, essentially. So through my interest in yoga and embodiment, that's how I came upon my leader within. And just listening to you all talking about, whether you're consciously or subconsciously thinking about your leader within, for me, like using embodying practices such as meditation and yoga, like I'm not maybe necessarily consciously thinking about my leader, but actually like I probably am subconsciously embodying my leader during those processes, because I'm aware that through those practices I'm sort of rebalancing my energy levels, essentially. But I've definitely found through the program now I am much more consciously thinking about visualizing my leader within. And especially during meditations, because I never thought I was like a hugely visual person. I was like, oh well, I'm very much into like the breath work and then just sitting with the breath. And so this idea of visualizing and thinking about seeing the leader was just a bit strange to me. But then actually, I became a lot more aware of it's not just the visuals either. It's the feelings and it's the words and everything that comes with that. So that gives you a bit of an idea of how I came upon my leader within. And I think another really big one for me, like as a tool that I use, is in my meditation practices and when I'm journaling, is the idea of practicing affirmations. So being very conscious of how I'm feeling that day and what energy do I need to draw upon to bring in that energy within me. So through affirmations, so, you know, mantras, practicing I am, you know, strong, I'm courageous, I am powerful. That's me sort of, consciously drawing on that energy of that leader.
Yeah, thank you for taking us back to that mantra, because I think that's, again, like thinking of those daily actions of how we access her energy. That's a really simple one, isn't it, in terms of all our allies had a mantra, didn't they, around I am, but actually coming back to what that word is around the leader within, like, does it feel strong, you know, or does it feel soft, you know, but finding the right statement, and again, like, you know, making sure we can see that, you know, as a sentence around us during the day, and we can kind of have that image that we see, just to remind ourselves. So a lot of what we're doing through the current cohort is, a lot of them are finding like objects and things and special kind of like crystals and stones that kind of make them connect. So again, it's just thinking back to some of those tools we came across, in certain colors, you know, wearing certain colors or certain type of dress. You know, honestly, when I went to Spain, I wore that pink kind of like tie-dye flowy dress. That was my leader within energy, and it wasn't green anymore. So for me, my leader within changed from like business minded, like Lakshmi, which is quite abundance focused, because it was about creating abundance in a business, right? That's changed to more of a pink, soft, feminine, like really soft energy over time, again too, because I am still building a business, but for me, I'm leaning into the feminine way, because actually that's more productive from a place of flow rather than a place of drive. So it's softening. So again, it's just really noting that actually it's okay to embrace the change as long as we're still using it as a tool. Yeah. So it's definitely been interesting, hasn't it, Lizzie, with the current guys? There's 8 on the current program, and it's landed completely differently with everyone. Like, we've got everything from Buffy the Vampire Slayer as an awesome leader within to like
a cat.
A cat. Yeah. And I think this is the thing, isn't it? Like, we have different interpretations of that, but I think what Lizzie really adds that I don't is almost that embodying piece around how do we connect to that in our body. And I think for me, that's a really important part of that module, actually feeling like you're in that energy, because actually if we can't access the feeling of it, it's very hard to then bring that change about in our life as well. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so is it useful for everyone to spend a bit of time running through just a little guided visualization to see if we can connect back and almost say hi again and revisit and open the door and have a cup of tea with our leader within again? Would that be something you guys are open to? It'll only be kind of like 5 or so minutes, and then maybe we can almost debrief and I can send you through that audio, because like I said, it's another one I've added to the program. The good thing about these alumni calls as well is that we'll always be adding content to the course. So at certain alumni calls, we'll maybe go through a resource or something new, but you can always access that obviously through the fact that you still have access to the program. So it's just different ways of, we might even, I know with Lizzie involved too, I'm sure there'll be different things that we're adding all the time, because it's 2 different perspectives. Me and Lizzie are the ultimate balance basically of masculine and feminine. Lizzie, and Lizzie needs more of my masculine and I need more so there's a nice balance between the two, because we need both, right? Okay.
I think that's the thing as well, is, you know, we're all drawing off each other's energy and we can all balance each other out, which is really nice.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right, so do you guys want to get comfy, turn your cameras off, and let's go in?
Natalie, you're on mute.
That would be helpful, wouldn't it, if I was actually not on mute? Thanks, Georgie. I'm just trying to get my somewhere I can read and talk. Okay, cool. So just a reminder for us, because it's been a little while now since we almost revisited this. So our captain or our leader within is our inner guide, like our inner compass, our inner knowing. And it's that part of us that is always clear and knowing. He or she is always in command and leads all parts of ourselves towards the fullest expression of our life purpose. Okay, so there's a real link between that leader within and then delivering that life purpose as well. Our leader knows our life as it should be in this moment and holds the paradox of wanting more for you. So they're your biggest cheerleader, you know, and they're about driving and you bringing in and manifesting everything, you know, that's made for you. Your captain or your leader within believes in you completely, and no matter what, he or she holds you tenderly with gentleness, compassion, and infinite patience. And your leader within has always been there waiting to meet you and is always available. So again, like you might see this today as a chance to say hi again, almost reconnect, or you might actually see it as a chance to kind of almost meet your leader within again for the first time if you feel like you've disconnected from that energy a little bit. So you can kind of almost have two perspectives around how you want to access that, really. Okay, so for the purpose of this, just take a comfortable position so you can relax. Maybe just do a few of those shoulder rolls, stretch your body, move your neck, sit or lie down. It's completely up to you. And we're going to go on a short journey. So I'm going to start with that deep breath. And as we release, we're going to let go of any tension we might be holding in our body. And breathe into that place. Let that tension go and relax. So another deep breath. And as we release, we again let go of any of that tension we're holding in our body. Okay, so this time we're going to take another breath, let go, and let our imagination go too. We're going to let our imagination take us to a place in nature today, a place in nature where we feel safe. You can make it up, sense it, see it, whatever's available to you. It might be a place that you go to every day, or it might be a place in your imagination on the other side of the world, on a beach, for example. Okay, so as you imagine this place, I want you to just look around. Is this place flat? Hilly? Is there a forest? Are you by the sea? In a meadow? Whatever you see or imagine is just fine. I want you to notice the time of day. It might be your favorite time of day. What is the light like at this time? Is there anyone else awake? Notice the sounds. Is there wind in the trees or birds that you can hear singing? Or maybe there's the sound of water nearby. I'd like you to reach out your hand now and touch something. Maybe it's the bark of a tree or the smoothness of a leaf, the silk of the grass. What does it feel like? What is the smell of this place? Is it that loamy earth smell or the smell of a nearby beach? Or whatever that smell is, let it come completely into your imagination. Let it all come so alive that you can almost taste it. So you start walking around and get to know this safe place. And as you've been walking, you notice the sound of someone approaching. Maybe it's the crack of a twig or the rustle of leaves that gets your attention. There is a sense of excitement that you feel here. You're about to meet someone very special. And they come into view. Your leader within walks towards you, eager to meet you, smiling from ear to ear. As they approach, just ask yourself, what do they look like? Is their hair short or long, dark or light? Notice what they're wearing. Do they have a particular style, or do they wear a certain color? And look into their eyes as they get closer to you. What do you see? Sink into the energy of it. What does the energy feel like? Greet each other in whatever way feels right to you. Maybe it's a hug or a handshake. Notice what's here now. Just notice. Your leader has always been with you, and now you have access to each other in a new way. Now you find a spot in this safe place to sit with each other and have a conversation. Sit down and get comfortable. Or you might want to go on a walk together or look out at the view, whatever feels right. So now you've found a place to have that conversation. You're going to ask them a few questions. What do you have to tell me about my values? What is important for me to know about you? What do you want for me in my life? And in what situations may you be able to use me to support you moving forward? What do I need to know about my life purpose? And what is the special name I should use for you, or object that I can use to access you when I really need you to help me and support me? As the conversation draws to a close, notice that your captain has a gift for you. Receive their gift. Notice what it is. And ask them if there's anything you should know about this gift. You thank each other, knowing you can be with your captain or your leader within any time you choose. Maybe you arrange another time to make a date, a coffee date, or you arrange to speak in a week's time. They're here for you to support you on your journey of transformational change, and you can access them whenever. So I'd like you to take a deep breath. Breathing in this experience, remembering what you need to remember. And another breath, returning to this space and time. Another deep breath, using maybe a quick moment to just adjust. Stretch, roll those shoulders, and then open your eyes and come back to the room when you're ready. I thought I'd lost you then. It's like everyone's asleep. No. So how was that compared to the first time? Did anything, and this, don't worry if it was tricky, because you guys have been out of the habit of this. Like, this is something we were doing every week, connecting with some of this. So it might have been tricky to get yourself back into that feeling, but open table for any comments or observations.
I found that quite difficult, actually.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think because I'm very out of practice with that, but it is the first time that my leader within has turned around. Before, I've never seen her face. I still can't picture her face.
But that's something, isn't it? The fact that you now have kind of access to a different, angle or perspective. Because again, you might, I quite like that one as well, because it's, there's something around kind of just having a chance to meet someone for the first time that kind of almost takes you by surprise. I think that almost gets our mind out of the whole like logical thinking of it as well. Yeah, I would say, Georgie, absolutely, like the meditation is key to this, and Lizzie, you'll probably say the same. Like anything, it's a habit, right? So actually, if we've not spent time with ourselves, or we've not actually like been still or slowed down, it ultimately it will get harder to kind of like find and access some of this information. So maybe that's something to take away, just kind of like once a week, where you're like, you become rigid again about that routine, or or just finding some space to be quiet, that you can ask some of these questions, because it's not something we can take for granted, is it? It's like our physical body in the gym. If we're training for an event, we're not suddenly going to just be fit if we don't go the next day, and it's exactly the same with this stuff too.
Yeah, definitely feel that.
Any other thoughts?
No, I'm too out of practice, but the meditation at the beginning of this session and that visualization, it just reminds me how important it should be in our lives, or in my life anyway, because although the pace of my life has slowed slightly, I haven't been practicing meditation. So this was a really great reminder, and I really feel the benefits of that. My leader within this time is a male.
Love that.
Yeah, and yeah, I could talk about it more, but I'm not sure I really want to.
Yeah, maybe keep it for you and maybe sit with that a bit more, like really ask some of those questions, and you can always message us on Slack and share something. But yeah, maybe kind of spend some more time with that.
I will. And it was interesting how you mentioned that people, or some people, are using like objects or whatever and I didn't know I did this until you mentioned that. And I know this is just getting a bit deep, but a long time ago, when I was 12 years old and my auntie passed away, she gave me a gold cross. Now, I'm not religious, but I've kept that gold cross, and there have been moments in my life when I've particularly taken it out of my jewelry box and worn it. Now, people wouldn't necessarily see me wearing a cross, but I have done. And I can now remember even holding it in whatever situation I was in, and it brought an enormous amount of, I wouldn't say courage, but it was almost like strength. And that cross and this male leader within and the leader within from the first session are all related. They're brothers and sisters, my mum, my uncle, my auntie. And it's just so powerful. It's incredible. I love it. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And I think it just shows, doesn't it, that we always have known or had this information. We're just uncovering it again. Like we're opening Pandora's box and remembering what we've always had there as a gift. But actually, the busier we get in society and conditioning means that we just get stuff like layers put on that's harder to find some of this beauty. And this is what this whole program's about. It's about unearthing some of those things we've always known. We've always had that tool, but we've just forgotten along the way, and that's, thank you so much for sharing, because that's so powerful, isn't it? Amazing.
Yeah.
Harry,
lovely. Thank you.
Find it, my love. And don't worry if you kind of have any pressure to not feedback, you're absolutely fine if not, but anything you want to share, feel free.
Yeah, no, I haven't got that much to say actually. I managed to visualize the beginnings, but then it already stops when I'm asking questions. I already don't get the answers.
Yeah, it again, pace is like, obviously I'm not slowest of talkers too, so again it's almost maybe
I don't think it was you. I think it's more that my mind is somewhere else at the moment.
That's okay. And I think come back to that. So like I said, I will send this to you all, but it's now basically in the Leader Within module. It's another meditation that's in the program. So we've added this one because actually it's just a bit softer. So that's always available. So it might be worth just going back to that at some point and just kind of like, yeah, even for the next few weeks, just doing that once a week or whatever, really. And we also will obviously through the alumni as well, moving forward, I will find a way to build in Lizzie's meditations, because I think that's going to be quite powerful if we can build in the weekly meditations, record the sessions, then link them into the alumni somehow. So it might be that certain sessions Lizzie does are focused on Leader Within or allies, and we link them to these sessions a bit more. So after the session, you've got a few tools to then help you. So I think that's something, Lizzie, for us just to coordinate really how we match up the content to then support these sessions, because the alumni for us is going to be really important. For me, this is where some of the work begins, really. So we absolutely don't want it to stop at the end. And now kind of coming into the next cohort ending too, I think we'll have some really interesting perspectives to throw around. Going to check the time. Perfect, 20 past. Okay. So yes, on that note, Lizzie, is there anything I guess you want to lead in from an ally perspective? Because the next session's on allies, and Leader Within an Allies is basically what Lizzie delivers through the whole program. So this is her like area, and I do very much do the more masculine, like logical, like values and life purpose stuff. But is it worth like giving a bit of information, Lizzie, just about allies, so that we can be brief as to what to expect for next session and what we're going to cover? Because again, you've had a really different perspective around how you've accessed that, haven't you?
Yeah. So for me, I found that with allies, they're like an extension of your leader. Our allies, our leader, essentially are the inner resources, the tools that we have. And that was something that I wanted to add actually to what you were all saying, is that if you can't connect with the leader for whatever reason, maybe it could be because you're connecting very much from your head, from your mind conceptually. What I'll probably go into a little bit more next time is that actually we can use our body and our breath and objects to really connect with our leaders and with our allies. So our allies, essentially, they're sort of the I don't know what you've got, so in a way, what your leaders like the CEO, and then like your allies are like the managers.
Yeah, it's lots of different ways we can explain that, isn't it? But I like integration, and also I like the perspective around like you might have, I don't know, this never works, like this never happens in organizations, so I'm making this up, but like it might be that certain different people like get the spotlight like on certain days, and like maybe even the CEO like has a day off and like puts an ally in charge, you know. Maybe it's about like how we all kind of come together as a collective, because I really like the fact that actually there's a union around a collective responsibility as well. So it's thinking about sometimes your leader within isn't the right person to support you, and almost like having a hat and taking it away and then almost giving that physically to another ally to take the reins. But there's something in that, I think, that's quite fun to play with.
Yeah, and actually just that I wanted to add really was that for me, because I chose a load of Hindu goddesses, and the Hindu goddesses are basically all the leader within Shakti in a different disguise. So it's all the same thing, but wearing a different hat on a different day, according to what you're needing that day, essentially.
Yeah, it's like a good question in the morning, like, what do I need today, right? Like what energy do I need today? And it's some days it's completely different energy, you know, isn't it, that we need access to. Amazing. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I didn't know, obviously, with these alumni calls, whether they would land, whether, you know, there's a place for them. So it's really important for me to be able to like trial this and just make sure we're investing our resource into the right places. And I think, you know, our gut instinct is that there's absolutely a place for these, but I feel like we definitely want to integrate more of the meditation tools as well, because it feels like there's a bit about keeping everyone in the habit of practicing, you know, some of this work. So it's awesome. I think we've got different people, because we had a few different people last time, so our numbers will be a little bit, now we've got different people joining from different cohorts. We'll probably have like, you know, a bigger group on relative occasions, which will help just with the perspectives. But yeah, it's been, I hopefully it's been a good use of time, guys. But if you want to just send me like a message on Slack and just give me a bit of feedback, that would be really helpful, just so I can continue to kind of shape them really. But yeah, welcome aboard, Lizzie. You'll be hearing a little bit more, and Lizzie will be doing like a lot of my content on the Wellbeing Girl too. So she'll be kind of showing up a lot more and really driving some of that, which is going to be really nice to bring that through as well. So yeah, watch this space.
Natalie and
Lovely.
Liz, the dream team.
Nice to meet you all.
I was going to say the same. It's great to see you all, and obviously, Lizzie, I've seen you at the meditation, but it's nice to actually, you know, talk to one another. So yeah, really good to meet you, and yeah, see you next time.
See you guys physically in a few weeks, and then obviously we'll have have our alumni calls as well. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you coming along.
Thank you so much.
It's lovely to see you all.
Bye guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.
Cool.
Let me just stop recording.